Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. The demo shop hasn't been too exciting the past couple of weeks, but they knocked it out of the park this time. And I received an email that showed me a sneak peek of a pretty cool model that's going to hit the shop soon too. But I'm not allowed to talk about it. So let's go ahead and see what they did this week. As far as being available at the time of recording, the first thing that catches my eye out of this batch is this bad boy. An ES335 Dot in Blues Burst. I like that title. I think what would make this guitar look even cooler, now feel free to disagree with me, but wouldn't blue binding also look pretty cool? Because then you'd have blue, black, and blue. It's like you're in the deep ocean or something similar. I don't know, you tell me. But what's even more peculiar about this model that I love, take a look at the headstock. It has a yellowed over lacquer, which was something I totally was not expecting on a dot-necked 335 that's blue. I mean, even the back has the burst. Does the neck have it? It's kind of hard to tell. I think it's all just one solid color, but I can almost visualize that, having a light blue back with that. Oh man, I want a Les Paul Custom in this finish. That would look awesome. I don't think I've ever seen a blue burst like that. Maybe I'll have to made to measure that. But anyways, on the back it was stamped demo because it has some light blemishes here by the F-hole. And a little bit more cosmetic blemishes on the other side. And whatever that is. Oh, wow. Okay. So this tells me all of the binding has been yellowed. So there is actually like a yellow top coat over this. You know, I'm kind of conflicted now because if all of it was yellowed, wouldn't this be like a green guitar at that point? Because yellow and blue makes green. It's interesting. I kind of like it, but at the same time, it makes me confused. $24.99. I'm guessing by the time you guys see this video, it'll be sold. Next up, we've got one of those brand new non-reverse Thunderbird basses. Looks like $200 off on this one, which is great if you were shopping for a brand new one of these. You can pick yourself up a small discount on it. Last time we saw the Firebird Custom get listed, this week we're seeing the Explorer Custom. Explorer Customs do not get a lot of love. They're just kind of unique and interesting. Like, do you want a bound Explorer? I mean, you could look to like the Gibson E2 series if you want something like that. But then you get the binding on the fretboard, the mother of pearl block inlays. A lot of people are on the fence. Do they want binding on the headstock or not? These do not have that. But if you love the look of this, but you don't want to spend custom shop pricing, seek out one of the Lizzie Hale signature guitars. I've done the review on the white and the black version. It's very similar to this for about $2,500 or so. Then we've got a couple of nice player grade models, like some studios and specials. I don't see anything that really catches my eye, but oh my goodness, it took them a month, but somebody finally bought that Flame 335. No, it wasn't me, but poor little Silver Sparkle still sitting in the shop at $48.99. Hidden within the catacombs of their sold listings, somebody did end up buying this shortly after I posted my last demo shop recap video. So this thing finally found a new home, and I'm so glad. That poor thing needed some love. But pretty much everything from this week sold nearly instantaneously. Let's start with the crown jewel that I was tempted to buy. This was advertised as an exclusive custom paint called Regal Purple. I like purple guitars and I like green guitars. This, I bet, would look absolutely majestic in person because it's got that really dark vibe to it. It's got some blue and a very dark purple in it. It looks great with these kind of like aged looking knobs and the gold hardware. I bet this would have been fantastic, but the reason why I decided not to buy and review and sell this one is the fact that I've got enough guitars right now. If this one came in, it would probably sit for a couple of weeks before I'd be able to do the review and demo. So I decided to let this one go, and we did just review that Sparkle Silver Burst not too long ago. And as far as the specs go, this one would not be all that different, but I'm guessing the pickups would have been different. So yeah, I guess it would have been an okay thing to do. And in retrospect, $5,000 was fair for what it is, with that really unique finish. But you also have to remember, this is just a regular Les Paul Custom, so brand new it'd be $4,699. So they were only asking a very small premium for that custom finish. If you could live with some scratches by the heel, a line around the headstock veneer, and a ding or two on the headstock. So whoever bought that, if you're watching, send me a couple of photos in like natural daylight. I think that'd be fun to share. Because there was the Sparkle Silver Burst, there was the Sparkle this one, and then there's this guy that somebody's selling here for $5,800. That's the Sparkle Green. You can kind of see it in different sunlight situations. This one did look pretty cool. I don't think I regret not getting this one though, but I bet the purple one would have been a bit cooler. But next up here that was really tempting was this. They called it Midnight Pelham. That is such a beautifully dark, like almost aged looking Pelham blue. Like it's not quite green, it's just very, very saturated teal color. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like if this would have had like a mother of pearl Gibson logo and have like an ebony fretboard with real mother of pearl inlays, like give it a trapezoid inlay too. Something like that I think would be really cool for like a modernized Les Paul Jr. But at the end of the day, they just swapped up the finish on this one, gave it the black tip tuners. Still had a blemish on the brand new finish somehow. But this is the demo shop. They're supposed to have scratches, nicks, and dings. That looks way worse than it is. All that is that's the finish over top of the stud that should be cleaned out anyways. Hopefully it's not spreading even further. But that one was only $100 premium, and it is one of the original collection juniors. I'm pretty sure this is the first double neck that's ever shown up in the shop. To be honest, kind of surprised it sold as fast as it did. $5,500 is not necessarily a steal for one of these. I mean, you can have your pick of the crop between vintage and modern day at that kind of pricing. But if you compare it to like a Slash double neck, it's definitely seen as cheap. But generally, these 1275s are kind of like made to order, so this must have been a custom order for somebody that didn't like it. It had a ding, they messed up, and they're like, oh man, we gotta make him another one. Well, maybe I'm wrong on that. It looks like on their website you can buy one right away today for $6,500, so maybe not only on custom order basis anymore. So for $1,000 off, if you were in the market for a brand new one, yeah, it makes sense. This thing was just a crazy deal. These are $2,000 brand new. You can never find them in stock. I tell you this every week. We just recently had an interesting story about a Flying V that might be coming to the exclusives collection, but this is just a modified one. It looks like they gave it white knobs. But I was curious, what was so wrong with this to get discounted $600? Okay, that's pretty negligible. It's basically they just got finish on the nut when they don't normally. It's normally just the clear coat that gets put on the nut. And that just looks like buffing compound that could potentially come off. And we've certainly seen worse binding faux pas on here. I mean, that's pretty tame, all things considered. They just went a little crazy with the finish, I think. Which I'm sure you could fix with some like lacquer thinner, get the finish off of there if that really bugged you, but $600 off, I think they sold that thing way too cheap. That could have still sold for $17.99 easily. I mean, it's even got the original pickups in it, so that was a great deal if you were looking. And you know, maybe that's the beauty of the demo shop. To get people to look again, they threw them a bone like that. So now they'll be back refreshing the page, ready to buy anything that shows up. So they might know that it's actually worth more than that. They just wanted to drive up some more excitement. Now we've got a couple of cool SGs. This is one of the olive drab SG standards. Again, started life as a CME exclusive. We've seen these a few times. They just put a Vibrola on it, and it honestly looks pretty darn good if you like green. Whoa, what happened to that? I'm sure some of that just comes down to the lighting of this particular photo to show you the scratches, but that looks like a pretty deep one right there. Something, whoa. How does that happen? Did something get loose in the case and they sent it back? Ooh, I really like that. The way they cap the tailpiece stud off with a piece of tortoise shell. Not real tortoise shell, but fake shell, like the pick guard. I have no answers for as to why that got as scratched up as it did, but it still sold for a premium, $16.99. Next up, they swapped out the plastics on this SG Special. Kind of makes it look like a cheaper guitar, but sky blue. You know, you got the clouds and the blue for the sky. It looks pretty nice. If nothing else, it might give you some inspiration to modify your own guitar. But it looks like we've got some cracking in the plastic. And then this thing, I dig it. I think I would like it better with a black pick guard though, because then it would just be completely eviled out. Then maybe you need to swap these knobs over, but I don't think I've ever seen figuring exactly like this on an SG. Like, it's not the normal like ribbon flame mahogany or sapele, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's just at an angle. Like, it makes it look extra evil. And they put Dirty Finger in the bridge, apparently, because it's got the double roll of pole pieces, and then a P94 in the neck. So that's actually a P90 pickup that's in the shape of a humbucker. So that's kind of some interesting tonalities right there. And then they swapped out your tailpiece for one of these Vibrola units that you just place on the guitar with 3 screws right here. Kind of like what you'd find on the N225 guitar. You also found it on the old school Melody Makers. And that's just the front. What else have they done here? Looks like black tuner tips as they like to do. Ooh, I just really like that backwood grain. I like that this half is dark. It's the dark side and the light side. If only the neck also would have had that phenomenon going on. Yeah, that's a pretty cool guitar. Like, whoever got that, you should be proud of that guitar because it's unique, and I think it was only offered at $100 premium. You could swap it back, but then you'll have 3 holes, so you're kind of stuck with that. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these style of trems, but it looks cool. But since we've got some time today, thought I'd look on Reverb, see if there's anything cool right away. And I do believe I found a few topics. This one kind of ties into what we were just talking about in 2 different ways. A, we can see that Vibrola I was just talking about, and B, this is how Pelham Blue ages. It turns into a green. This started life as blue. Vintage Pelham Blue guitars are ridiculously expensive because people love the way that they age, especially on SG standards. People pay crazy premiums just for that finish. Well, what's kind of cool about these melody makers is they always have a natural neck. So it's just a very vintage spec that you'll see occasionally pop up on reissue guitars, like the Tweedy SGs, they did them like that. This one looks like you could probably use a new nut on it. That might fall out on you. But overall, a nice vintage example that somebody upgraded with a hard shell case. How much did they want? I'd guess 18. I guess way too low. As I told you, the Pelham Blues, people ask, about twice as much as the other colors. Is that really market though? Let's find out. If we can trust this price guide that these are only Pelham Blue finished ones, as it says. Looks like one sold for as much as $26.50. There's a $28.50, so yeah. If it wasn't for that finish, it wouldn't be worth much more than 18. Next up, we've got a Les Paul. There used to be a time when you could buy modified Les Pauls for $700. Now you're buying the modified ones for more than what you used to pay for all original. So this one looks like you've got swapped out pickups, so honestly, not really even worth buying. But it is a Fire brand Les Paul, so that's pretty cool. But it's the original T-top pickups that drive a lot of the value of these things. I mean, they're great guitars on their own. And I'm sure these pickups are just fine. And this is actually a version that has the nice Schaller tuners too. I'm assuming like you can just barely see that they blurred out the numbers. If you're going to do that, blur out the last 2 because you need the 1st and the 5th to know what year it is. And some people are hunting birth year, birthday guitars. So hiding that number just kicks your butt. And people want to see this number to know if it was made in Kalamazoo or in Nashville. So really the only irrelevant numbers if you want to hide your serial number are these 2, which I think hiding your serial number is just dumb anyways. I think Reverb should make you register your serial number every time you sell a guitar. That way people can be reunited with stolen guitars. Well, that's just my thoughts on that. And we'll end out today's episode with this. Nice. I believe the official color is called Peacock on this, but it's a Les Paul Elegant, so this is a heavily chambered out guitar. You get the abalone trapezoid inlays. The black plastics work pretty nicely with that particular finish. I don't think it left the factory like that though. That's why this one looks a little bit different. But they're nice guitars. Maybe not my favorite, but they are very beautiful. If you're looking for a really stellar used Les Paul that kind of has some interesting history to it, I would suggest checking out an Elegant. You can check out these reviews and demos to learn more. But I do believe that will do it for our recap of the demo shop this week. Don't forget to tell me your favorite one in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.